So today we're going to kick off our first Portfolio Lead monthly office hour. As I said earlier, we're going to provide this support for all of our portfolio leads for all of our districts and charters the third Thursday of every month. We will not meet the months of November and December. You received an email, and if you did not receive an email from me, please email me after this meeting today and let me know you're not getting my emails so that I can make sure you're in our listserv. Today, I want to talk to you all about your role as a portfolio lead and the responsibilities that portfolio leads have to our portfolio teachers and to your districts and your charters. I want to share with you some resources that we have for you. Some have been on the team website and some are new. So I'm excited to share those resources with you today. We're going to talk about your next steps between now and August. And then I want to show you how you can get support as you support teachers in their portfolio implementation this year. So let's start with your lead, portfolio lead role and what that responsibility is. So first of all, you all are here today because your district evaluation configurator or your district superintendent has chosen you to be the portfolio lead for your district and charters. Every district and charter is required to implement at least one portfolio for a non-tested teacher group or an alternative growth measure to the portfolio in either K1 or 2. If your district or charter receives VPK funding, you are all required to either implement a portfolio or an alternative growth measure in kindergarten, and you're all required to implement a portfolio in pre-K if you receive VPK funding. So that's a little background on that role. So your responsibility in this role as a portfolio lead, one would be to maintain those accurate teacher rosters. Next month, I'm going to meet with you all and share with you our platform, which is called Portfolium. So the portfolio platform is Portfolium, and you will be responsible for rostering your teachers with me, /portfolio.questions. We'll be emailing you with information on how to roster. So you want to make sure you know, one, what model did your district or charter choose to implement this year, or maybe more than one model? And then once you know for sure what model your districts or charters are using this year as a portfolio, you want to make sure you know all of the teachers that are in that grade level or in that subject, whether that be PE, fine arts, or world language. Not only are you responsible for maintaining accurate teacher rosters throughout the entire school year, you're also responsible for distributing all of the portfolio information and resources to your teachers. Some of the feedback that I got this past summer from teachers and our peer reviewers was that sometimes they were not aware of some of the deadlines or some of the resources that we have available on the team website. So I just want to make sure that you all know that when we send you an email, it only goes to the portfolio leads. We do not send the email information out to teachers. So you are always welcome to forward the emails you get from us to your participating teachers at any time. So we want to make sure our teachers do know about the handbooks and the guidebooks and all of the things that we have available on the team website, as well as deadlines. Another thing that you're responsible for is submission status. You want to make sure that you are watching the platform and monitoring reports, making sure all of your teachers are getting their portfolios uploaded in the platform, that they're all making it by the deadline. As I said, Amy is our director of data. So one of Amy's jobs is to ensure that all teachers receive an LOE. Well, teachers that are implementing portfolios that do not submit on time or at all, they don't receive an LOE. So it really is a big deal that you monitor those statuses, that you keep up with your teachers and make sure that everyone is submitting. And we will We will talk about each of these things: rostering, submission status, how to read reports. Every month as those deadlines come up, those will be our topics at these monthly meetings. Another responsibility is just making sure your teachers are in the platform and that they are getting their work done, that they are submitting. And then finally, communicate with us. As your teachers have questions, we encourage them to come to you first. Whenever I get questions, or if Portfolio Doc Questions gets a question from a teacher, our first question for them, and some of you have seen me copy you in their questions, is for them to always reach out to you first, to be that first line of communication. But if you need support and you can't answer a teacher's question, we encourage you to reach out to us and let us help you answer their questions, and help us answer your questions as the year goes along. So those are a broad overview of your roles and responsibilities as a portfolio lead this year. I'm really excited about our resources. I am constantly monitoring the team website and making sure that our resources are up to date and that we are keeping you informed with things you need on the team website. When you go to the team website, you will find under the Growth tab a Portfolio Resources tab. At the end of this meeting today, I will push this PowerPoint out to you so you can have these hyperlinks. But you will find under the Portfolio Resources tab all of the models that we offer in Tennessee as portfolio models. You'll see the Fine Arts page, the first and second grade page. If you have first and second grade teachers implementing portfolios this year, I strongly encourage you to get on that page, look at those documents. All of the first and second grade portfolios have been redesigned. They are completely different from last year, so make sure that teachers get those in their hands as quickly as possible. We have PE. If your district or charter is implementing the PE portfolio, you want to make sure that it is K-8. High school PE teachers do not have a portfolio model. Pre-KK, if you have pre-K or kindergarten teachers implementing a portfolio, they were redesigned last year, but this year I have updated and revised their handbooks based on feedback that we're getting from teachers and our peer reviewers. So be sure to click again on those links and that you are aware of the changes, and anything you see or have questions about, again, reach out and let me know. If you are implementing world language, it's only French and Spanish. If you have another world language, they don't have a portfolio model. It's only French and Spanish that we have a model for. Also, you will see on the resource page, and this to me is one of the most critical resources, is this one here, the Team Portfolio Guidebook for Administrators and Teachers. This guidebook has all of the information, regardless of what model you're using, around portfolio implementation. It talks about the expectations as far as student work. It talks about deadlines. It has just all those processes of a portfolio are in this document. I encourage you as the lead to read this document, as well as to make sure your teachers all read this document. Many times the questions that I get, the answers are almost always in this guidebook. You will also see here rostering guidance. Again, I will send you an email, or Portfolio Questions will send you an email when it gets time to start rostering. We won't start that until September, and we will have an office hour explaining it. We have some best practices from portfolio leads that have shared with us, as well as if there was a grievance, what is the protocol, and then if you happen to have any distance learning portfolio teachers, there's some guidance here. So we have this on the team website. Excuse me. Also on the team website, and I'm going to just come out of the PowerPoint for a quick second to show you something that I've added just here lately. If you go to the portfolio resources, as I said, you'll see all the models. We also have all of the models here. So I'll just click on a random. I'll click on first and second grade. Under in each model on their page, you will find their resource guide. This is where they will have their standards, their rubrics, task, but you will see a teacher FAQ, and it's not live yet. It will be live ASAP, trying to get it live as soon as I can. But when this link goes live, these are frequently asked questions that we received in portfolio questions last year. So this will be a great resource. It is the same teacher FAQ, regardless of what model you click on. It's an overall, for the most part, it's a generic, regardless of whether you're doing PE or pre-K. But it's a lot of questions that we got this past year. As things come up first semester, if we see some of the same questions over and over, I will update this FAQ. So again, things to be sure you do between now and our next meeting is get these resource guides in your teachers' hands, share this FAQ with your teachers, make sure they're all aware, and hopefully they will all read the guidebook for teachers and administrators. So those are our resources. So now let's look at next steps. So the next steps, the things to do between now and August would be identify your models, make sure you know what models your district or charter has chosen, share these resources that we've discussed today with all of your teachers that will be portfolio implementers, support your teachers. Once they get their resource guide, start talking to them about selecting their portfolio collections, selecting the standards that they're going to choose for this year. And then they can begin planning, and school starts very soon. And for some of you, I have heard that school has already started. So your portfolio teachers will most likely be ready to start planning and collecting those point A artifacts. So those are the things that you can be doing now. And so let's look at what our topics will be. You'll use the same link you used today at each of our meetings. Again, I will send you this PowerPoint and you can click on this hyperlink to get to the meetings. Next month, I will introduce you and walk you through the platform, the Portfolium platform. You will all portfolio leads will automatically be rostered as district administrators in the platform. So you should be on the lookout for an email. In August, you'll get that email from Instructure, and it will be your login to the platform. In September, I'll start talking to you about how you roster teachers in the platform, what templates you fill out and how you do that. We'll hopefully finish our roster guidance, our rosters, and get everybody in the platform and verify in October. In January, teachers have either left first semester or been hired. We'll talk about teachers that are PYE, what that looks like in the platform. And then you will once again verify your roster. As I said at the very beginning, in your responsibilities, it is critical that the right teachers are in the platform, the right teachers have access to submit a portfolio, and that all that is taken care of through this roster process. In February, I'll show you how to monitor your teacher's progress. We'll look at reports. We'll spend some time on that. In March, we'll start looking at their accounts. I'll show you lots of things in the platform. And then in April, we'll start winding it up and talking about completes and incompletes and status. Throughout this process, at any time you have a question, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at portfolio.questions@tn.gov. So I know I have just hit you with a ton of information. I thank you for your attention, and we are going to stay on this call. If you need, some of you have reached out and said you needed to jump off today. So if you need to jump off, feel free to, but Amy and I will stay on and we will answer questions. We will spend time with you until 2 o'clock. So I'm going to, let me stop sharing. I'm going to turn it over to you, Amy, to let me know what questions have come through the chat.
Okay, you have a few. If you have VPK in your district, can you implement Portfolio in pre-K and Tennessee Universal Reading Screener in kindergarten?
Great question. Yes. And if this question came from a portfolio lead that's not sure what their district has chosen, I would say first reach out to your superintendent. All of our directors of schools have already made those choices and signed off on those choices. So if your district receives VPK money, your district or charter has already made those decisions for kindergarten. So if you're not sure if you're doing a portfolio or if you're using your universal reading screener, reach out.
Okay. Will districts have the option to use universal reading screener for VPK?
That's not a clear, I'm not real sure what that question means. Do they mean for funding?
I don't know. Destiny?
Destiny, you want to come off mute and clarify? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking.
We had used our universal screener last year in VPK, and I am attending in place of our lead who couldn't attend today. And she asked me to verify if we would be able to use that screener again next year.
Kindergarten, for districts that receive VPK money, kindergarten, first and second grade can use their approved universal reading screener in place of a portfolio. Pre-K does not have an approved universal reading screener, so all pre-K will use portfolios.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Is it now a requirement for 6th through 8th grade PE teachers to complete a portfolio if we already have K-5 teachers complete it? Or is it an LEA decision to add 6-8 to the PE portfolio model?
That is a great question. It is the district's decision. Districts implement there's actually two models. It's the K-5 PE model or the 6-8 PE model. You can implement, and I believe that when the districts and charters filled out their paperwork, they put PE, but the district leads, they let me know when they roster. Is that answering the question, Amy? Is it a requirement?
So. It's a district decision.
It's a district decision for that.
Okay.
But if they choose K-5 PE, every K-5 PE teacher in that district or charter they are required. If they choose 6-8 PE, every 6-8 PE teacher is required. It's not choose your teachers, but they choose that model. And put in the chat, whoever asked that question, if I'm not answering your question clearly.
Will you be giving us deadlines on when points are due so that we can pass those on to teachers?
The only deadline that the district has for teachers is the submission deadline. We do offer suggested deadlines for teachers to submit point A and point B in your team timeline, but it is not a requirement. The platform will take submissions all the way until May 1st at 11:59 p.m. Whatever your local time is. So we do not give a deadline for submissions. Districts, you are welcome to give deadlines to your teachers. I will say that typically what I have found and have heard from teachers is they assess everybody at the beginning for their point A, and then they don't choose their students until they have assessed everybody at point B. And then it's all of this guidance is in your guidebook under purposeful sampling. So with that being said, to mandate a teacher to submit her or his point A before they have assessed point B, that might be hard on a teacher.
Okay.
I don't recommend doing that.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I don't recommend requiring them to submit and to choose their samples before they have assessed point B.
Okay. If we have more than one portfolio lead, will there be access for all of them in Portfolium?
Another great question. Every district charter, as I said, superintendent, they chose one portfolio lead. So everyone that I push the emails out is that one portfolio lead. If you are the named portfolio lead, when I send out the teacher roster, if you want me to roster someone who assists you with your teachers as a portfolio lead, I am happy to do that. You just let me know. And I will give you, I have given other people in the district access to the platform, but the portfolio lead role and the emails from portfolio questions just goes to that one person. Does that make sense? And when we meet next month and look at the platform and I share with everyone, everyone that's the portfolio lead will have their access. I'll show everyone how they can roster someone else to help, especially in our larger districts. And sometimes even in our small districts, people like to have someone else assisting them, especially when it's time to monitor reports.
Thank you. Will we be able to change teacher email addresses in Portfolium, or will we need to go through the chat feature? We have almost 400 teachers and they are always changing emails.
I don't know who said that, but most districts have teachers who want to change their emails.
Me.
Yes. Hey, Beth. We do have a lot of teachers. Nice to see you in person. Here's my advice. And when you do your rosters, the email should be their school email. Let's put it that way. I highly recommend that you tell your teachers to make sure they have also gone into T-Encompass, because it complicates things when they have moved around and they don't have their current school email in T-Encompass as well. Now, T-Encompass is not going to email anybody about portfolios, but when we do our roster lookups and when we are just making sure all of our records are accurate, sometimes that's a problem. To answer your question, Beth, if you roster everyone with their school email or their most active email, the one they check, that's the email that they will use to sign in. And as you know, teachers forget their usernames. So that's why I recommend it always be their school email. So you always know your username is your email. And it's also the email that we send to teachers to get access. If for some reason someone gets married, that happened last year, like a lot of people got married last year and they wanted to change their emails. If that happens, you can email me and I can fix it. I don't want to fix 400 though. No, I will, but
I will say that Persephone and I in Portfolium are quite good friends. I feel like I need to take her out to dinner as much as she helps me.
Beth, she's gone.
Oh.
Yeah. Any other questions, Amy?
One more. Is it still 6 submissions per class for preschool portfolio?
It's never been 6 submissions per class. So let me start by clarifying what submissions are, okay? Okay. And again, read the guidebook. The guidebook will explain collections and student selections and standards, all the things about submitting. For all of the models, excluding PE, I believe does have 6. But for all models, pre-K, 1, 2, fine arts, and world language, there's 4 collections. This question asking specifically about pre-K. In pre-K, 2 are ELA and 2 are math. Each collection has an emerging sample, a proficient sample, and an advanced sample. Every sample has a student work at the beginning and an end. So maybe that person meant 6 pieces of student work. Okay. The process of a portfolio has not changed. Same platform, same process. The rubrics have changed in pre-K, K1 and 2.
Okay, if a teacher teaches multiple classes, do they have to complete one of each class?
I am going to try to answer that question, but whoever's asking that question, please clarify if I'm not sure. I think what I'm hearing is if a teacher teaches maybe first grade and second grade.
I have some clarification. She just sent some clarification.
Okay, thank you.
If a teacher that teaches music, choir, and theater, do they create a portfolio for all 3 classes?
No. In the fine arts model, there is a dance domain, a theater domain, there is a instructional music domain. A fine arts teacher picks one domain. And that is all in their guidebook, and it's on their page as well. But a teacher can't roster in the platform. I mean, they can't set up collections in dance and in theater. They are one model, one rubric.
Okay. Did the pre-K K rubric change this year?
Yes. The standards are the same, but the feedback that I received from peer reviewers and from teachers, they had some questions, some things they wanted clarified. So it has not been redesigned. It was redesigned last year for 21-22, but it's been edited. We have gone in and made some edits. We have closely aligned our pre-K K to the new redesign in first and second. So you will see at 6 and 7, for example, of kindergarten, that is at expectations in first grade. The language is exactly the same so that we have clear alignment from pre-K up to second grade. We have added some edits to the suggested task. We've had some clarity added to last year. We had suggested evidence collections. We have changed some of that wording to things that are required evidence modes. So things like that. It has been tweaked. So definitely don't use the 21-22 resources. Go to the team website. Make sure your teachers have the new July 2022 resources.
What about 619 SPED pre-K classrooms? Do they implement Portfolio?
Great question. When you go to your guidebook that I shared with you on the portfolio resource page, towards the end of the guidebook, and I'm guessing, I don't have it right offhand, I think it's around page 12, there is a section called Portfolio Exemptions, teachers who do not submit portfolios. So when you find that page, you will find that SPED teachers do not submit portfolios. So if the teacher is a SPED teacher, an inclusion teacher is a SPED teacher, they are not rostered and they do not submit a portfolio. If there are SPED students in the room, SPED students can absolutely be included in that teacher's group, in their group sampling. For example, when I was a kindergarten teacher, I taught inclusion. My inclusion SPED teacher would not submit because SPED teachers are exempt. I would, and I could use any of my students, whether they were regular ed or if they had an IEP. Does that make sense? So it's not the students who are excluded, it's the teachers that are excluded.
Gotcha. Okay, how can teachers receive training for Portfolio? I don't know if she means portfolio or portfolium.
I would say start with you all, the portfolio leads. Get your teachers together, share with them the guidebooks, share with them their specific content models. Hopefully there are teachers in your schools who have been peer reviewers. They, to me, would be the best people to come to a PLC and talk about portfolios. But as far as like physical training, like somebody coming and presenting, we don't have portfolio live trainings from the department anymore. It's all in-house from you all.
Okay,
Hey, I've got some PowerPoints and things. I don't mind sharing if somebody's new. We've got a whole structure where we support our teachers, and I'm actually working on some PLC documents connected to Portfolio. So I'll put my email in the chat. I mean, I don't mind sharing at all. We need to probably work smarter, not harder.
That's a great idea, Beth. And thank you for saying that. Beth is from Knoxville. So you all know how large Knoxville is. And as she said earlier, she has about 400 teachers. So you are a great resource, Beth, as well as Miss Hall in Shelby County. She has a lot. There's so many great resources amongst each other. And that's what I hope you all get from these office hours as well, is get to know each other and use each other for resources. So please put your email in the chat, and Beth and people can reach out to you for information.
Thanks. Hey, if anybody is good at cutting down trees and replacing roofs, I need one of those from the storm last night. So you can email me that too.
Yes, ma'am. Any more questions, Amy?
They're not. There's several people have expressed appreciation for things being updated and out before school starts. They're very appreciative of these things.
Thank you. Yes, I see Andrew just mentioned, if you are implementing PE, I really suggest you reach out to Andrew Martin in Germantown. Thank you, Andrew, for putting that information in the chat. Andrew was also one of our PE expert peer reviewers. He is very knowledgeable. And so if you need support in implementing PE portfolios, Andrew is your go-to. Thank you for that. Ed Ducey is another one. I think I saw Ed on here. Ed would be a great resource for fine arts. So reach out to him. And anyone else, you know, if you want to volunteer like Beth did and say, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. And those of you that are brand new, if you just want to reach out and say, I'm brand new and I need all of the help. We want to be a community to support each other. This afternoon, as when we finish, my plan is for portfolio questions to email you the PowerPoint, to email you this video recording, so you will have it. My hope is in August to have a place on the portfolio resource page where every month I can house these meetings and these PowerPoints, so you just have ongoing support in case, like I said, you forget something. And I didn't want you to feel like you had to frantically take notes during this entire meeting, so that you could just listen and ask your questions. We have a few more minutes. If there's anything else that someone is, Amy, I know they're coming in fast. I can't see the chat and I guess
they're sharing emails.
Okay, share emails. That's wonderful. Okay, if there are no more questions, I'm going to stop recording.
I'll put my documents in a Google Drive